FNAF Fan Games you must play. Remember that top 10 video I did 5 years ago? You know, the one that got a crazy amount of likes and over 1 million views? Trash. Garbage even. Forget that it ever soiled YouTube with its existence. It's been 5 years since then, and devs have been dropping banger after banger after banger. FNAF fans have been eating good for a while in this FNAF renaissance we found ourselves in. Us gamers have matured our palate. We only require the best of the best. Only the finest of FNAF fan games will do to satiate our hunger. So please, take a look at this menu of delectable FNAF entrees and open wide for the top 10 best FNAF fan games that have ever existed. You may disagree with this list, and that's fine, but if you're upset about it, this is my jar of toots to give out. It's empty, because I don't give a toot. A Shadow over Freddy's. Astute observers may have noticed that this was originally number 2 on the old top 10. I wasn't kidding when I said we've gotten some bangers in recent years. Probably due to FNAF fans getting older and with too much time on their hands during 2020. For whatever reason. The game starts out with what reads like a confusing monologue of a dungeon master and a horrifying D&D campaign. And our narrator keeps that energy throughout with an unsettling slideshow in between nights. Not my favorite aspect, mind you, but that's not why this game is on the list. Okay, alright. That's why this game is on the list. I still swear by this game being one of the scariest FNAF fan games for first-time players who don't yet know the rules of the animatronics. Yeah, I know. I'm a wimp, and I need some anchor arms to trick people into thinking I'm this big, strong man taller than 5'7". Dan, don't you say anything, you 6'9" homunculus! I'm literally 6'2". But this game has some of the best jump scares of its time. They're short, impactful, and if you're not paying attention, unpredictable. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this anymore. Bondi's Barnyard Safety Violation. FNAF, but farming. At its core, this is your classic FNAF fan game. You got some doors, some lights, some weird misplaced mascots with questionable names like Geet the Goat and Pablo the Turtle. But you're not a security guard this time. You're a lost child stuck in a cow animatronic. Lucky you. Oh, by the way, that security guard, yeah, he's an enemy. If he sees you moving in the cow suit, enjoy your controlled shock. The game has a great feel to it. The animatronics have a smooth animation, and the mechanics are balanced and work as intended, which I only mention because a large number of FNAF games are lacking in this area. The custom night is solid with secret characters to unlock, and you have your usual extremely difficult on max mode, which I will not be attempting anytime soon. Oh god! Bondi's also has one of the more horrific endings in FNAF fan game history, and I say that affectionately. This game is a great example of taking a core concept and making it your own, while still staying true to the original core gameplay. Bondi's in particular made the list because even once I beat the game, I kept coming back to play the custom night and mess around with the secret characters. I had fun. It really is just that simple. A Bite at Freddy's. Congratulations! You've been promoted from security guard to glorified cowboy waiter. Yeah! Yeah. It's FNAF but Texas. Being born in dumb old Texas and currently living in Arizona, anything Western immediately stands out to me, and I love it every time. I can't get enough. The game's premise is simple. On top of being a night guard, you now have to check the conveyor system to make sure future customers will be able to get their food without any issues. Oh, and yeah, the animatronics want to kill you, because FNAF. Surprisingly, this game only has 4 nights instead of the usual 6 or 7, and about time! A FNAF game that has the cojones to reduce nights instead of making 17 secret nights and 83 custom challenges. In classic Western fashion, having a duel with Chica is a mandatory mechanic, which I approve. And if you ever wanted to get your revenge on Freddy Fazbear, now's your chance. Go! I got him in the head! Although it still won't end well for you. Is Freddy just done, or is that gonna come back to haunt me? Oh my god! Also, Foxy likes to eat electricity, so that's cool, I think. The game feels good to play, and the reduced nights make sure you don't get bored of the monotony of doing the same mechanics over and over for too long. Short, sweet, to the point, Texas. Oh, Mickey, I will never escape your fan games. Let's talk about Oblivious Casa, Oblitimus, Oblisterous, Oblipitus, Slim, Oblip. For a long time, Treasure Island left a bad taste in my mouth because of the way it was treated after it was passed on from the original developer. But when both Photo Negative Mickey and the Radiance team took up the mantle, Scary Mickey was able to find its footing, eventually leading to the development of the game that shall not be named, mostly because I can't pronounce it.
Oh my god, Sam. It's literally Okay, never mind, I get it.
The game keeps to your usual FNAF rotation of having 5 nights and then a 6th night, then a custom night, yada yada yada. We've seen it all before. But like any interesting FNAF fan game looking to stand out, we have some new mechanics thrown in, including erasing the ghost that's trying to attack you through your notepad. Which now that I think about it, why don't we just throw away the notepad? The game's got got some cool additions between nights, going above and beyond your usual gameplay, including Mickey-infested caverns to explore and a second chance mode to help you survive the night. But, I don't think I ever made it out of this nightmare minigame successfully. Also, Scary Mickey has secret characters to unlock. Most of the time, that's enough to activate the hardcore, no-life gamer in me to strive for 100% completion. Thanks, Melee, and all your super cool secret characters. Oh, the sheer joy it would be to see all of these question marks filled in with new colorful characters and their attempts to unalive me in the custom night. There's only one problem. It's hard. I mean really hard. Everything's terrible. Listen, the base game is hard enough as it is. An excellent challenge, a solid FNAF fan game all around. To unlock all the secret characters, you have to beat everything with absolute perfection, including some of the weird creepypasta character mods, which takes everything you learned at this point and spits on it. I tried to get all the secret characters. I stood no chance. Juniors, who you gonna call? A security guard on a minimum wage salary, apparently. Yep. You're a ghost hunter, and as far as I know, this is the only FNAF fan game where you get to pretend to be a low-budget Ghostbuster for a while. It's a super cool idea, and I don't think we've ever seen this with any other major FNAF fan game, this kind of investigation gameplay. The nights revolve around teaming up with Paul Bear, awesome name, to examine animatronics and identify which ones have been possessed, ready to turn your insides into outsides. It does take a while to get used to, and I wouldn't blame you if you needed to look up some YouTube guides on what the f you're doing, because it is confusing. But once you get a hang of the mechanics, you're not trapped with the animatronics. The animatronics are trapped with you. In the late game, Juniors does something that I wish more FNAF fan games would do. The unexpected final night boss battle. All right, let's just be honest with ourselves. Once we get past night 3 in most FNAF fan games, mechanics start to feel a little dry. You've likely seen everything the game's gonna throw at you, and then the game turns from a horror game into an endurance test. But if you change up later nights, that's gonna keep your players on your toes. On their toes. Junior's final night flips the script and forces you to learn new mechanics to deal with these new threats. Strap in, because Mangle is not playing around. Great game all around, and it's definitely one of those moments where trying something new truly paid off. Pop Goes Arcade! We really haven't gotten any true FNAF World tributes, have we? There are a few attempts, but Pop Goes Arcade is the one that stands out to me the most, even if it's really FNAF World adjacent. There are some key differences between the two, but I'm not gonna split hairs here. Arcade is a charming adventure where Pop Goes embarks on an adventure battling corrupt animals to save the forest. Twice. It's essentially 2 games in one package. I love turn-based RPGs, and so this game really scratched a niche for me, especially since the game was framed a lot like the original Dragon Quest with its battle system. I'm not a game dev by any means, but I can still acknowledge the amount of work that needs to go into making a full RPG. The very few horror RPGs I've played, even the good ones, don't come near the 10+ hours of gameplay you can get from Pop Goes Arcade. That alone tells me how much work went into the development. I live-streamed the entire game as part of a charity event, and it was incredibly fun getting the 200% completion, as well as finding the more glitchy and disturbing stuff that reminds you that, hey, this is a FNAF game, don't get too comfortable. Surprise! Arcade is a prequel to Pop Goes Evergreen, which of course is a game that I've been very much looking forward to. But for now, Pop Goes Arcade is gonna be my FNAF World fan game go-to. And it makes me very excited for future pixelated FNAF games like the upcoming FNAF Fur. Playtime with Percy. Now, when I initially booted up the game, I wasn't expecting much, maybe just a fun poodle jump scare or whatever. But let me tell you, when it comes to fan games that keep to the original Five Nights formula, this one might be the best. It's surprisingly good, even purely from a technical standpoint. The animation was smoother than I was expecting. The mechanics were unique and fun to play, but not overwhelming. The game was challenging, but not overbearing. It's just a good time, man. And you already know, I love a surprise final night with brand new mechanics. The game kicked it into maximum overdrive with fake credits leading into what is essentially a boss battle with a deranged Tamagotchi who wants to be your best pal. Also, the music slaps, but don't get distracted. Percy is not gonna take it easy on you. I should care a little bit. I should care. Percy's playtime was like Bondi's Barnyard to me in that I just kept coming back to play. I wanted to find the secret characters. I wanted to play them in the custom night. It's just fun. Although I could do without the game giving me a score of my performance after every night. Why do I even try? I can only take so much failure in one day. Day Shift at Freddy's, the series. Is it cheating to have a whole series as an entry? Ah, whatever. It's my video. I can do what I want. Once again, I call attention to my jar of toots. Nope, still empty. I started playing these games literally 2 days after releasing my last top 10, and I was definitely missing out. In this satirical visual novel, you take up a job as a night guard during the day? The story is so convoluted that I'm not even gonna attempt to give you a summary, but just know that each game in the series has multiple endings, each with, and I quote, varying degrees of pain, suffering, and death. For example, one ending is called Soapy, and how you get it? Don't drop it. I'm sure you can fill in the rest. There were a few times that that I was legitimately worried about demonetization. I did do these games live after all. What a terrible decision. At no point does this game take itself seriously, but that's to its benefit. Even with the goofy dialed up to 11 and graphics dialed down to 0, at no point is the game apologetic for its existence and proudly announces, "Here I am, world, deal with it." To be perfectly transparent here, I could have easily put Day Shift way lower than spot number 3. It's definitely not everyone's cup of tea, and I could easily see people actually hating this game. Why'd you say it's so good then? Well, dummy, I'll tell you. I decided to put it up higher partially because I like silliness, and the game is right up my alley being so high on the goofy meter. But more importantly was the effect that this game had on the FNAF community as a whole. Like, if you like this game, you love this game. To this day, 5 years later, I still get old sport references in my comments and live stream chat. So really, I did it for the community, and you can't do anything about it. Jar of Toots. The joy of creation. The FNAF powerhouse is still alive and well. Come on, was there any doubt tjoc was gonna make it high up on the list? For many gamers, this is the FNAF fan game of fan games. There was some crazy hype building up to this game, and oh boy, it did not disappoint. The game simultaneously feels like it fits well within the FNAF franchise while also showing players its own unique experience. 5 rooms, 5 nightmares. The game is not for the faint of heart. Each section feels like it could be its own FNAF fan game, and quite frankly, they all feel like diving into a Night 6 difficulty with no idea how the mechanics work. Lots and lots of trial and error, and error. Dang it! And error. There it is. All right, okay. Oh my god. Oh, you think you know how to play FNAF? Well, here's some extra challenges for you. Can you play through all 5 nights without dying a single time? Yeah, that mode is a whole thing. The game overall is quite a challenge to overcome, but man, does it feel good to commit arson. Seriously, why are we so obsessed with burning animatronics? Nixon recently put out a new demo showcasing a remake of tjoc, and it's immaculate. Not only does it keep to the original feel of the game, but also reinvents mechanics. It might be too early to say this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Nixon made a perfect game better, and I cannot wait for the full release next year. But what game could have possibly beaten out the joy of creation? What game has been chosen to uphold the title of best FNAF fan game ever? Tyke and Sons Lumber Co. The goofy, in-depth adventure set in the world of Chipper and Sons. The game that inspired the OG FNAF 10 years ago. Uncanny Valley and all. This game has everything. Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe you didn't hear me. This game has everything. You want lore? Got it. What about some crafting? Got that too. Well, it couldn't possibly have boss battles. Bam! Giant bird in the sky. Underwater mazes. Sky falling. Fishing. Summoning God. And don't forget about currywurst. I will say that if you really prefer scary games, then you might as well play The Joy of Creation over this silly game, because there's nothing in this game actually scary. Oh, wait, never mind. There's a whole classic FNAF style mode built right into the game with challenges and everything. Would you look at that? I also broke the game, and that's just a plus for me. Tyke and Sons Lumber Co. is a perfect love letter to anything FNAF, and it is a journey. You will not be the same person after playing this game. Okay, that's a little dramatic. It's a good game, you should play it. Those are my top 10 picks for the best FNAF fan games of all time, or rather, the best FNAF fan games so far. I know there are tons of great FNAF fan games that I didn't talk about, but are still worth playing. To really give FNAF fan games their due, I would have to create a top 50 FNAF fan games of all time. Actually, that's not a bad idea.
Don't you dare do that, Sam.
I am completely convinced that the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise won't be dying off anytime soon, especially now that we actually have a FNAF movie. The community is just too passionate and clearly very talented. Brew some coffee and check those cameras. I think we'll be here for a while.